Hello, I'm Sylvain from Infofit. I'm a personal trainer here and a course conductor. Now, this time of year, or any time of year, often I have questions regarding motivation. How do I cultivate motivation with my client? And when I train myself, how do I stay motivated all year around? Um, it's not always obvious to find motivation, right? People quit because they're not motivated, and there's reason for it. Motivation, what is motivation? Motivation is defined as the drive that gives direction and purpose to all your actions. So if you're doing something, if you're going one way, it's because you're motivated to do it, right? There's something that pulls you that way, pushes you that way. It can come from two places. It could come from inside, like within, or it can come from the exterior influences. Let's start with the one that comes from within. Um, it has to do with the fact that when you train, you enjoy it. There's different situations where you can enjoy it. We'll go over those, but you're having fun doing it. It's not a task. It's not over the top of your day. It's part of your day. It's part of your life. So you don't have any problem prioritizing into your schedule. It has a place and it needs to be there, as same as brushing your teeth a couple of times a day and going to bed and then sleeping your 8 hours. It is part of what you need to do to stay and thrive in life. Um, then it can come from the exterior. So there's different ways you can be influenced by the exterior. If you want to lose weight or look good or doing exercising to please somebody else, well, in that case, often that motivation is related to a feeling of pressure, guilt, right? Also anxiety because you know you need to do it for somebody else. We're basically motivated by a blend of those two. There's also situational motivation. If, for example, a personal trainer can create an environment that's very positive, it's just pleasant for the eyes, right? You feel in control of, the client feels in control of their exercise. They have muscle mastery. They're getting very good feedback. Whether they need to correct something or not, it doesn't matter. But at least they're getting the support they need to feel empowered with whatever they do in there. That creates a situational motivation, as in, I like this. I feel good when I'm doing this. I'm going to keep it on. All right? So, our job is to really motivate our clients, facilitate the development of more and more intrinsic motivation, and I want to say by empowering them, and one really good way that I found that my clients respond well is that when I educate them, if I showing an exercise and I can teach them, tell them about the relevance and the mechanics of something, if they feel it in the right muscle, they are the confidence is going up, and because they feel more in control of the outcome, because they understand what they're doing, that makes them feel good. So that's another way that I can motivate my clients into staying on track, right? That's that. Another part where I can contribute to their motivation is by making them feel success. How do I make them feel successful? Successful for what? Right? It's not about looking good. It's about achieving something. So you got to track something. So you got to design goals, objectives, right? So between the two of you, you come up with maybe or probably a product goal, as in the end result. I want to run a 10K. I want to be part of a bodybuilding competition. I want to be on stage. I'm going to a cruise and I want to look and feel 100% of what I can be, let's say. That's a product goal. So you help them create some kind of a end goal. It is going to give all your workouts a color, I say, a direction, a purpose. So you're going to really know why you're doing something and how long you're going to do it. It's all going to be part of a game plan. Another part of setting goals is that product goal you need to do a certain amount of steps to get there. So you're going to create a bunch of process goals. What am I going to do to get to my product goal? So when you run, for example, a tab on 100 percent. If you're going to bunch of process goal, that add up to, let's say, 80%, and you put less emphasis on the end result, losing or the fact that I want to say if it was a weight loss, losing 20 pounds, and they do everything right, but they stop at 18%, 18 pounds, let's say. They're missing the goal by 2 points. They're still going to have, let's say, 90+%. So they feel successful. That's an excellent note, right? But if you base the whole thing on the fact that they lose 20 pounds and they get 0 because they didn't get the 20 pounds, well, that's probably very demotional. They don't feel success then. So you need to help them. Well, it's a good way to support them is to help them strategize their goals, short term, mid term, long term. The way we like to formulate the goals, to present them to our client, is that once you've established what it is that you want to do as an end goal, you create them in a smart way. And I don't know if you remember the 80s and the 90s, but we had seminars on, okay, let's create SMART goals. And the SMART acronyms, can I see this? Right? Okay. SMART stands for, it's the first letter of a word. Here's going to be specific. Now, never mind the way I write, right? So, okay, so specifically identifying something you need to measure. And the other thing is measurable. All right? So that's I can really help there when I start measuring something, right? Attainable. Attainable. So if you can't read it here, at least you can hear it. And then relevant to the client's objectives, general objective, and time bound. Okay, so let's go through a little bit on each of them. Specific, I talk about, let's say, losing pounds of fat, losing percentage lean mass, losing percentage fat, right? Increasing your lean mass. That's specifically something that you can measure. So you're going to set up a bunch of assessments, periodical assessment, and you're going to monitor your progress from the beginning, and then throughout your microcycle, you're going to monitor your progress. Throughout the entire time, you're also going to look at the goals and probably modify them if it doesn't really fit what you're actually doing. If you feel like 5 days a week is too much and you physically cannot do the 5 days a week, well, you dumb it down to 4, and then you still get a good mark at the end. Because you know what, life is about changes, right? So that's measurable. That's part of the assessment. So you quantify the progress of the client. It also helps you verify that the training you're giving them is actually working. So you test yourself on what they do. How's that? Attainable. So that has to do a lot with being realistic. Often a client will quit because they don't see results, but which results are they looking for? I want to say, if they have high expectations, thinking outside of what can physically be possible. Unless there's a miracle happening, you know, they're going to be demotivated because they don't see the success they're looking for, the results they're looking for. So we're going to make it real. So let's say, for example, on fat loss, we calculated, let's say, that they need 10 pounds to lose. Some people say, well, I can lose this in 3 months, 3 weeks. But I don't think so, because it's a little bit of a shock to the system. So I'm going to come in and explain to them that a good way to lose some fat and keep it off is to go at about a rate of 0.5 pounds a week. So the 10 pounds is going to take 20 weeks. That's 5 months. Or 4 months, depending on what you use as a week per month. All right, so 4 months, it's not as fast as they thought originally that it was going to happen, right? But hey, at least they're going to get there and stay there. So I need to deal with those expectations so they don't get demotivated. And I need to revisit those expectations throughout the time because it always reoccurs. I'm looking for a weight loss, I'm looking for a fat loss. How come I'm still weighing the same thing, right? So you explain to them a few things. Relevant, well, you're going to design something that fits into the whole program, why they're there with you. If you design something and they want something else, something's not going to jive. You come in as well and making it progressive, A lot of clients are going to be really aggressive if they see success and they build on it. And they go and they train and they train and they train. They overtrain sometimes. Or um, it's going to be related to attainable, as in they expect too fast of a result and they get demotivated that way, right? Time bound. So when you measure, if you set up a strategy for a year, where at the end of the year, this will happen, and then each 3 months, each of the quarters, something is going to happen, and you're going to keep tracking with your system, your progress. Cool. That's what I want to say about setting goals. It's an art. You got to be really creative. You got to provide them with options that they would have never maybe considered, and you got to justify as you draft them up, and explain to them the relevancy of each of the steps that they're going, the phases they go through. If they understand what they're doing, I think they're going to buy into it a lot better. And no matter how many contracts you sign with them, the relationship you have with them and the honesty and the trust that they have into what you're saying to them, and they see the result, that's going to make them feel like a winner. Okay? Give me a second here, just to see that I covered as many things as possible. Okay. When setting up the next thing, I'm going to use my brush. Hold on. This helps. The next thing I want to talk about is how do you design something that makes sense for achieving results, as in designing for results, right? Training with purpose. There's a few considerations I'd like you to look at when you design program. Variables has to do with the FIT principle. F-I-T-T and an E. All right? So when you set up the program and the pace at which you're going to train, let's start with frequency. If you have a beginner, guys, or if you're a beginner, you're just setting up your own program, and you set up the frequency too high, let's say 5 days a week. You say, oh, I'm going to do it 5 days a week. Well, between you and I don't think you're even going to complete the first workout week. It's too much too soon. Too many changes at the same time won't work. Simply won't work. So you go easy. Earn the right to go another day at the gym. So start at 2 and progress to 3. And let them beg for 4 and 5. Right? So if they earn the right to go 5 days, they're not going to feel like it's too much too soon. And they're going to stick with it. The I stands for intensity. On the intensity side, they say, they surveyed, right, that if you have too much of an intense program, workout, people are likely to quit twice as much as if you had a moderate workout. So you're going to lose. Well, I don't want to explain that because I'm going to get confused. Yeah, but I'm going to just repeat it. If you have too intense of a workout, the people quitting is twice as much as if there was a moderate workout. All right, so let's keep it at a moderate pace for a beginner. So you're going to have the training patience. Right? You know we're going to get there, but let's build our way up there. That's intensity. You also, as a trainer, will guide their progression. I want to say progression as in when they increase the weight, they will go to 5% increments, right? They're going to use the 5% increments on the weight, and if they increase the duration on the cardio, they will go something like 10% each week when they feel like they're ready to do it. Okay, so they don't progress too fast and they cover their bases. On the time, I want to say that if you have a purpose and a direction, I want to say that your workout should be limited to around an hour. So if you don't have a plan, you're probably going to hit the 2 hours and you're going to get bored and you're going to get demotivated and lost. Risk for injury is really high. Time and type. Deciding if you're ready for interval training, high intensity interval training, or you need to do some endurance work before you do some strength work. All this is going to be part of designing the program. And you can help them with that. And then as well, the enjoyment. Always pick something they love to do and they feel confident doing. If they don't like it, they won't come back to do it. All right. Um, to complete all this, I want to say that um, designing the program requires you to implement probably periodization of training so they're not mentally bored or it lowers the risk for injury for sure, but they will get to the results faster. And there's a whole set of rules and criteria to periodize your training, but I suggest that you do this. So you put yourself through the seasons of training, I call it, and then you benefit from the results from there. That was how I keep motivation with my clients, how I stay motivated myself. I hope you got something out of it. There was a lot of words, but I'm talking always from my heart, and this works with most of my clients for sure. It's never 100%, but it's close this time. Happy training from Sylvain. Bye bye.